said shit.
You
But
don't need to say it. But what's up, people? We're here again for another episode. Popcorn and Pints, Star Trek for Star Wars
we're rocket men.
franchise. You know, the franchise versus all this stuff. Rocket Men, space shit, space guys, all that cool shit. We're attacking the clones today for the Wrath of Khan. That's what we're doing. All that.
We're astronauts.
Yep. Astronauts?
Ass.
Astronauts. Yes. Yes. But James, before we dive into these reviews and dive into these movies, let me move that pen out the way so I don't accidentally smoke that shit on the live. I said it. Did you watch? We'll start with Star Trek. Did you watch the Star Trek show, the episode?
Yes, and I'm glad I did because that was advice from Mick.
Yeah, shout out to Mick.
And
be joining us very soon.
That was a great idea because it 100% felt like it could have continued right into it.
Yeah, what it did was it gave you that, like, if you just watched the movie, didn't know about that episode, you're kind of missing a big chunk of how they met each other, how they knew each other.
Yeah, like why is he so mad at Captain Kirk and shit? Yeah, exactly.
Everything they're talking about and all that shit, like you get that from that episode, and it was so fucking it made the movie watch better.
Yeah,
it made the movie better in my opinion. Like I was like, oh shit, okay. I love the tie-in, and I love when you get that. Like I love when movies and shows and all that, when they pay it, they're like, you know what? The fans fucking deserve this. Let's do this. Let's do this shit for the fans, and they tie the shit in together the correct way. And just from what I know, and I don't know shit about shit when it comes to either one of these franchises, but just from watching what they did in the episode to how the movie went and how it tied in together, I'm like, beautiful. Thank you. Why can't we get this more often when this content is created? And why can't people just look back to the past of just not copying what they did, but the idea of like, okay, if we're gonna do a reboot, if we're gonna do a remake, if we're gonna do a something, we should. If we want to tie the original in, let's tie it in like this. Let's use maybe an episode from a series that we're pulling, like how they did it with this, but really tied it in. If they're using a big baddie or whatever the case may be. Sorry for the lack of words, but a bad guy or like a big popular dude, they're like, okay, I want to use this guy from the series, tied in from that episode. Just make it make sense.
Great storyline too.
Great story. It was easy to understand. Yeah. I was like, oh shit, like it would have. And I don't mean any disrespect when I say this, Mick. It would have sucked if Mick would have had to explain that whole thing to us without, like, with him just knowing because of his nerdism of it. You know what I mean? Versus,
can I jump in on that real quick though, and just add this one thing? That's the beauty of in both these franchises, but especially Star Trek. You can jump in on any series, watch it, and you don't have to know the rich history. They'll talk about it. And then if you're interested, go back and look at it. And that's what I love. I do agree with you on this. I do wish they would, like, this is the way they do it. They connect everything. If it's Star Trek, it's connected. And if it's connected, then that means that you're going to get, you might have, like the seventh movie that we'll be watching in this whole thing, Generations, where Kirk and Picard meet, but even though they're like 400 years apart.
Ooh.
So stuff like that. So like it's and not to ruin it for you guys when you get there, but like Marvel doesn't even do that. Marvel has a whole slew of Netflix TV shows that were produced that they're kind of connected, but now they created this multiverse.
Yeah,
you don't even need a multiverse for Star Trek. They have their own. They have the mirror universe and other things. They've created other universes on it, but you can always go back and connect everything, and that's what I love about Star Trek.
That's true.
Yeah, they did like a really. Oh my! I was surprised. Like I was surprised. I was shocked. Not that I doubted you, Mick, but it's one of them things where like fans of something, especially if you're like a diehard fan, you see things different than just a casual or just someone just checking it out or someone just watching it for a podcast. Like I would say I'm more than that. I'm a casual. I'll say yes. I'm watching it for the podcast, but I'm also a casual. Like I do enjoy Star Trek. I do enjoy what I want. When I do watch it, when I do sit down and watch it. And the way this connected was so beautifully connected. I'm just like, holy shit! Like Mick was not fucking exaggerating, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Not even throwing some Jersey sauce on it. He was not doing any of that shit. He was being legit with this one. He was 100% legit. Like, yo, watch the show first. Watch the episode first. Watch the movie. You're gonna get a great connection, and you're gonna understand the movie so much more. And I was like, holy shit.
And I like how they in the story of Khan's origin story. I like how they had that whole thing from regular Earth. The 90s. It's funny. The 90s.
Well, that's a huge history they talk about.
Yeah. Selective fucking genetics making like super soldiers.
So that so basically the line that of where it goes in Star Trek. Now it's been amended through years because, of course, as we go on, we're in 2023. I think it was the 1990s where the eugenics war starts, and that's where the people who were genetically altered started taking over and conquering places. And then after that ended and they got rid of the genetic and outlawed it, World War III started and there was a nuclear holocaust. God. And then so they were all living like it's just people living like years after that. And Zefram Cochrane is the one, and you'll see this in First Contact. Is the one who created the first warp drive flight. Ooh. And that's what caught the attention of, because you're not allowed, the prime directive in Star Trek is if they don't have warp capabilities, so that means they can't come into our territory, prime directive, you don't mess with them. You don't change their habit in any way, shape, or form. Now you can watch any Star Trek show and see that get demolished, any 100 times, and it's always done in some cheeky way. But I always liked that they have these rules established. Star Wars, I felt like they were establishing those rules so well. Even when you come back to the prequels like this and just kind of giving a backstory of what George Lucas wanted. But I got to be honest, as much as people are fans, I feel like it went too far all over the place for the sake of creating more merchandise. So whereas Star Trek always had merchandise too, and the geeks would buy it, the Trekkies would buy it, but it wasn't about the merch. It's about the story. It's about the light. Like Gene Roddenberry has rules, and everyone who takes over this universe is supposed to follow those rules. Now, the funny thing is, Akiva Goldsman, who took over, was not following those rules when Discovery came out. When and they're just general templates of like, this is how society works. This is what it is. This is like, and that's what kept the franchise so rich. And he dipped out of that. But man, did he go back to the well and get all of these writers and stuff that have worked with so many different Star Trek worlds, because it's a family. It's a true family. And if you ever look into the research of it, and they came back, like Terry Matalas came back for the 3rd season of Picard, and it's the best season of Trek ever. It's the best. It's one of the best seasons of television I've ever watched. If Breaking Bad didn't exist, I might even put it on top. So, and the reason I say this is because, again, like Star Wars is having a lot of trouble with all these different voices. And Marvel, the first phase, reminds me a lot of what Star Trek was. When Kevin Feige was like, these are the rules we're laying out, this is what it is. And it all worked. Even if it was bad, it was still like fit. And franchises seem to unravel, but Star Trek keeps going.
Yeah.
So
that's true. And honestly, my opinion, as of right now, I get my opinion from all the movies. So from the Phantom Menace, then the first Star Trek movie, and these two in the episode. As of right now, as a fan, I'm more of a Trekkie. So let's see how this goes by the end.
I like that. I like that. I want to continue that.
Can I? At
the end.
I mean, I like them both. They're good. Like Star Wars, I'm not hating Star Wars, but I'm more into the story of Star Trek. I'm like, this is like a soap opera, like this is actually telling you something. This is like a show, It's not just politics and war and just fighting and shooting fucking androids and everything. Like, okay, but that stuff is funny too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm a Trekkie so far.
I love it.
Even though I got a Star Wars shirt on. I found this today. I had to put it on because I was like, podcast tonight. It's I was like, I gotta get it.
We can love both. It's a divided allegiance.
No, exactly. Yeah.
It's so wonderful.
Yeah, of course. You gotta love both. Why not? Why not, people? That's why there's multiple things.
I think the thing that because they're so different, like Star Trek could be our future because it's all delves in real theoretical
science. I was
science.
thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing earlier.
And look at what Star Trek has created: cell phones, tablets, our general computer use and how it works, like space travel. We've learned a lot from Star Trek. Like Star Trek is the quintessential, in my opinion, positive outlook on our future.
Yeah.
Not much else exists. Like Star Wars isn't our future. So Star Wars, you can disconnect and be like, yeah, that galaxy sucks. You're always at war.
Yeah.
I love it because I'm here to watch a war movie, but I'm not always ready to watch a war movie. But I can't turn on any episode of The Mandalorian and just be like, I could, but like, even as a layman, like if you're, like don't really know the world, but you like the shows, you're not really turning on a Star Trek episode or a Star Wars episode and just watching it. But Star Trek, you can just be like, oh, Star Trek's on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've as far as the Star Wars thing, I mean, I've never watched the shows, but it's never been on. Has it ever been on TV? The series, like
as a show? TV? No, I think they came on animated stuff.
Wait, what show do you mean?
Star Wars.
Did Star Wars ever have a TV show?
Oh, okay. Star Wars has tons of TV shows. So Clone Wars was one.
No, but I mean, was it on live TV or was it always like a streaming platform? Was it always on a streaming platform? I mean,
not always on a streaming platform. Yeah, it was cable. It wasn't like a network show, but Clone Wars was, and Rebels was on Disney Plus or Disney XD.
That was animated.
Okay. All right, that's fair then. All right, I didn't
so
know
there's
that.
I will hard argue for their animated shows that they are better than some of the movies.
Oh, 100%.
Rebels,
I say that with fucking a lot of
DC
cartoons and shit.
DC,
yeah, but
DC effect.
DC animated movies a million times better than the original.
The Star Wars. So just hang on. So are you saying Star Wars has the DC effect with their movies? The animated ones are better. That's cool.
Wait, the animated shows are better than. Wait, what do you mean?
You said the animated shows or movie are better than them.
Well, they don't have any. Well, they have the Clone Wars animated movie. I'm drawing a blank on if they have any other animated films. I don't think so. Okay. Besides that, but like Rebels, I will put up against everything except for maybe Rogue One and the original, the Holy Trilogy, as being better than.
Okay.
And Clone Wars, I could argue for some.
I've seen the first season of Rebels. I did watch the first season of Rebels.
I think the Mandalorian's the best thing. Ashoka's good too, though.
Because that Rebels is where they follow the female character, right?
No, that's Ahsoka. Or what's her name? Rosario Dawson plays her. No, that's Ahsoka. She's an offshoot of Clone Wars and Rebels. She was Anakin's Padawan.
Oh,
and Clone Wars picks up right after Attack of the Clones. And then the seasons, all 7 seasons, pick up right after that movie. And so she's a Jedi who got disillusioned by the Jedi. She's not a Sith. She's not turning, but she got disillusioned because she thought they were losing their way getting into war. So she left. She just was like, I'm done. I'm out. And she just went out and did her thing. And then she joined back up in Rebels as an alliance because she was fighting the Rebel fight against the Empire because she didn't believe in them either. And she teamed up with the crew from Rebels, and that's why they are connected in the TV show now. And they're all trying to search out Ezra, who was like one of the main characters in Rebels and stuff like that.
Nice.
I love that show.
I'm gonna tell you guys one thing. I got a little pissed off when Spock got
killed.
Yeah,
when he died.
There? You're gonna try to make
well, you don't want to spoil anything though, but
It's
I mean, this is
40-year-old movie.
We do spoiler shows. People know this when they tune in to
but Spock, no. Yeah, that I didn't. Honestly, I didn't know he died in this one. I don't remember him dying in this when I seen Wrath of Khan.
Don't worry, wait till next week.
Years ago. So
I didn't expect it.
It's really,
but I've never seen it either.
Oh, fair. And plus, if you've seen any of the other movies, he's there. So you're like, why would you ever think he died?
Exactly.
So Leonard Nimoy wanted to be done. He didn't want to do Spock anymore, so they killed him off. And they thought that would be a beautiful sacrifice going into, because they didn't know if they were going to do any more movies, right? Mm-hmm. So they wanted to do it right. That's why I think this movie is probably the best Star Trek movie ever, is because to them it was like, we may not get another chance. We need to make up for the last one, so let's do it right, And then I think if I remember correctly, it was Leonard Nimoy didn't want to do it anymore, and a possibility that it opened up. And then when this was a humongous success, clearly it was like, yeah, we're doing sequels. I think they Leonard Nimoy, I believe, directed Search for Spock. That's why he's not in it as much. He became the director of that movie and the fourth one, and I think they greenlit both. Yeah, so they were both directed by Leonard Nimoy, 3 and 4, and that was like part of his agreement to come back to play Spock. He wanted to direct both, and so of course he did. And the third one admonishes this beautiful ending. Like this ending means so much more than anybody will ever know. Like, this is, like I told you, this is mine and my best friend's movie growing up. So like this is a big deal. We used to say, like, that shit to each other, as weird as it is, but when you're a Star Trek fan, it's not that weird. Like, you quote those movies, and like I have it right there. You are and always shall be my friend, because it's such an amazing quintessential moment. It sucks that he dies, and I'll get into, I'll save for next week why I'm glad they brought him back, even though it ruins this. But that ending, that whole, I don't believe in no-win scenarios the whole time, and then he lost his best friend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a humbling moment for him, and just a huge change of everything that's coming. But my best friend actually died a few years ago. For anybody listening or watching, these guys know, they don't want to hear that story, and neither is my friend. But I did want to put up behind him. Like, I did get pops of the one where they have their hands on the thing, like Spock is behind one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Man. Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Like, here, I'll show it to.
That's dope.
For anybody who like looks for it, because this was our movie, and he had passed away the year this came out, right after it came out, after him, and then so like they have that.
Oh, that's cool.
And like just to add a little more sappiness to this, even because I don't get to do it often. Back in the day, these things came out, and they're Star Trek pendants, right? They're half, and if you can see it, it says the quote that's down at the bottom, and it breaks in half. You're supposed to be like, you give it to your best friend. I did, and when he died, it was buried with him. So I keep that up there with it, just so that way I can have it on there. So,
that's awesome.
Sorry for allowing me. Thank you for allowing me to go down memory lane and take down their
It's a good thing. It's a good thing, and it ties into the whole Star Trek and Star Wars. We're all of it, so it works.
But I will say this, just to kind of fix things: boobs.
Yes, space boobs.
Space boobs.
Space boobs.
Kirstie Alley boobs.
Kirstie Alley. Is that her first movie appearance?
I think so. No, she might have been in Runaway beforehand. I'd have to look up the years, but I think that might have been.
Because that's a young Kirstie Alley.
Yeah.
I was like, I watch it. I'm like, wait a minute. I know her. I'm like, oh, she's pretty hot.
Wait a minute. I know her.
I'm like, she's pretty hot. I'm like, who is that? I was like, I know who that is. I'm sitting there thinking while watching the show, the movie. I'm just sitting there thinking. I go, wait a minute. Look who's talking. Fucking Kirstie.
Oh my gosh.
Sure.
Yeah. Who hasn't? Never mind.
Okay. No, I'm not doing that.
Nope. Wrong show for that. This isn't Mick at Night or Late
Mick
Nights
at
with
Night
Sir
or the Late Night with Sir Sturdy. We'll get to that one. I want to
But
hear
now,
the next one is going to be that. I want to hear the most embarrassing thing someone's ever masturbated to.
Oh boy.
Golden Girls?
Oh, come on.
And I'm talking about real embarrassing. I'm not talking about, guys who are like, maybe who were born gay and came out of the closet at some point and were like, no, I was really embarrassed back then. I'm like, no, but that was natural. I'm talking about you saw a poster somewhere of something and it made it twitch and you were like, you know what? Go to town.
Hey.
And like, what was that poster of? Like a beer can or something? Like, what happened? What hauling here? Did you see the hauling ass woman outline on a truck flap? And you're like, yeah, let's go.
The thing is, when you're fucking like 13, 14, it didn't matter what it was.
It could be anything. You're just ready to just like whatever.
I'm saving it.
You're just,
you get me to
you're watching you can watch a TV show and like someone's just bending down like cleaning, vacuuming, and you just see a little bit of cleavage. You run up the stairs really quick and you come back down.
Shit,
you're like, hey, what did I miss? You're fucking breathing heavy. You're red.
I'll tell you, your old pal Mickey over here, not the steamboat kind. I got two great stories for you, but I'm saving them. And Sturdy knows the way I lost my virginity. And the first time I ever jerked off was the most embarrassing thing I could ever think to jerk off to.
Okay. I don't know how you remember this thing. I can't remember the first time.
Because it's so embarrassing. Because when I tell you what it was, you're going to be like,
makes sense.
Like, really? And like, I don't think you're going to be like, you're not going to be disgusted or anything, but you're going to be like, really? Like, that's absurd. And then I'm going to be like, go check out my channel.
Okay. There you go. That's how you get them into it. That's the clip right there. Go check out. You want to hear more absurd shit? Go check out the Scene Snobs.
That's some shit right there, for sure.
But this movie, though, let's dive into this movie.
Yeah. So, Con. So why didn't they bring back the traitor? That female role, Givers.
I don't know why they didn't bring her back.
So they killed her off, and now he wants revenge on Kirk for her dying. Motherfucker, he let you go free, and she chose to go with you. It's not his fault.
Did you notice the very noticeable mess up in this movie?
Oh, hold on. Wait.
And it has to do around that time frame. That's why I'm asking.
I don't, but in my defense, I watched the show like I watched the show Tuesday or Thursday, I believe, and I watched the movie today. Or no, I didn't. I'm lying. I watched them both the same day. They were just like a few hours apart.
No, I can't think of it.
I don't remember.
I can't think of it.
I don't remember.
I don't know. What was the mess up?
So when they're on the planet and Chekhov goes, the Botany Bay, and then they capture him and he goes, Chekhov, my old friend. Chekhov wasn't in the first season of Star Trek.
Oh, shit.
He didn't join the second season.
You're right, because at first I thought that was Scotty until they said Chekhov. I was like, oh, that's not Scotty.
And you know what's even crazier? I could be wrong, but I just rewatched the second season like this past few weeks, and I was looking for it. So if I'm wrong, I do apologize to Star Trek fans out there, and I would appreciate you letting me please subtly know that I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. But I am almost 98% sure that Chekhov and Sulu do not share a scene in the entire second season. I'm still going through the third to see, but I think they did once or twice in the third season. But that entire second season, when Chekhov joins and becomes the navigator, he's always there, and it's another guy, or it's Sulu and another. And they never mention him up, but they're widely famously known as Chekhov and Sulu, the navigator and the helmsman.
Wow.
So it's pretty hard.
Someone's gonna come out and be like, he was in it. He was the guy fixing the thing in the background. He was like he was an extra at the time.
Something
he was there.
Something crazy. He was busy.
You could say that, but at the same time, like, why would Khan be just like run into some ensign somewhere and just be like,
exactly, yeah,
hey, let's become friends and talk a bit. Tell me all about yourself.
Some things are just better left unsaid when it comes to that.
You know, because I didn't see this movie for years and years, so I was trying to puzzle it, like get it in my brain, like try to remember the scenes, and I didn't remember about the bug that goes in their ear to control them. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't remember that part. So I'm watching and how Khan's acting, and he's like slipping up and everything. It's like he's letting the anger take over and shit. And I'm like, is he controlled by one of those little fucking bugs? And I'm like, is he acting weird because he's getting controlled and he's going mad? And that's why he's acting like this? But it didn't ever come out like that. Like he had
he's just he was so mad.
Yeah, he was unhinged.
He just wanted revenge. Like that was it. Like even at the end when they're like, "What are you doing? We're all gonna die if you do this," and he throws them away and like,
yeah, he was like, "I don't give a fuck as long as I kill Kirk."
It's just since his wife died, that's the only person he blamed and went after. And it makes sense because you're right. And I rationalize it this way, and this is my own personal thing. I don't know, other people like it. He's enhanced in every way, right?
Yep.
He's enhanced in especially in brain power and all that. They say that in the show, like I don't know how many times. So of course,
1,000 times, yeah.
His ruthlessness is going to be, and his thirst for like vengeance is going to be enhanced too.
Mm-hmm.
So like he's all about it. And when his wife dies, he's not a humble man. He's an egomaniac. He's the best of the best, and everybody else pales in comparison. So he'll never blame himself. Kirk put us here. That's his fault. Again, the Chekhov thing, that explains nothing. But you're right. He could have just been on the ship at some point.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. You're right. He's enhanced in every way, and his anger would be enhanced and shit like that too. So yeah, that's crazy.
That's my same rationale for Captain America as well with the Red Skull. Why is Steve like? Because it doesn't work if you put it into somebody who's tough or strong, or even like they have to be a good person because you get every part of you enhanced, and that's why Steve, when he is enhanced, is still a very good and even more humble person that will always take the extra steps. But Red Skull, his face melts away and everything. Like it's truly like his hideousness is what's being enhanced because he is a dark entity, and I always like sort of rationalize it that way too. But this specifically, because Khan is just such a wonderful character and such a great one to bring back, and such a minimal one.
That's why it sucks that he dies, because I'm like, this is a character they could have multiple episodes, like in multiple seasons, as a nemesis, like an arch rival to Kirk. Like he could be in multiple seasons.
But keep in mind, they didn't think this was going to do well, so they didn't know. So they were like, "Okay, we're going more the Star Wars route with the fighting and such." But they put this movie. No other movie. Everyone else feels like there's a cliffhanger, or not a cliffhanger, but a continuation. We're going to go on to the next. This movie felt when it came out like this is it. You're not getting any more Star Trek. There's no show.
I can argue the end about it can be continued on.
But yes, because they always did that anyway, and like left some, because that's always the positivity of Star Trek.
And I have a way to mix it in where you can bring Khan back.
Well, so he come back
when Genesis blows up, because it creates, it takes Khan and it turns him into a super being or something.
Listen,
it brings them back as a fucking new species or something.
It is Star Trek. You never have to worry about. They did bring Khan back.
Oh, Khan's they do.
Yeah, I mean, he was just on Strange New Worlds as a child because one of his descendants served on the Enterprise under Christopher Pike, who was the captain before Kirk. So, and she's haunted by the fact that he is such a villain. And this takes place before Wrath of Khan, so she doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So she just, and they tease it in such a really cool way. So, but that's Star Trek, and I love it. You can retcon those little things, but like they've brought Khan back as a kid because she comes face to face with them and has to make the choice. Like, I can't kill him because it will change like reality as I know it. I'm changing history, and she saw what it does. So she's like, I have to let this monster murder millions of people just to save our future, which is the peaceful option.
Yeah,
it's such a heavy thing, and they do that a lot. And then they brought. I almost don't want to talk about it.
Don't talk about it. You can say
I'm like,
it.
you guys might be surprised by that one, so I'm like, because it is going to come up in the movies, and I don't want to. I don't want to. Yeah, because you guys are like watching these, so I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna ruin it. But anybody who's seen them knows what I'm talking about, I'm sure. But yeah, Khan is such a great character. But think about this: Khan was in one episode, ideally one episode of a show and one movie.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me you don't know who Khan is, even if you're not like
100%.
diehard. Like
100%.
You Khan, you know, like that whole.
He's gonna be burnt in my brain. He's like the #1 villain right now.
To me,
it's like
so yeah. Well, I was gonna say, watching this movie, watching that episode, and then hearing this, learning this from you about how like he's pretty much done for good until he comes back a little bit or whatever as a baby. But it's like,
and more.
It's so weird that they didn't carry it on back in the day. Of course, they didn't know any better. They didn't know, but they carried on back in the day to where I don't know when Captain Kirk is no longer the captain and Picard comes in. I don't know if there's anybody.
You want to know? I can tell you all the time. I know everyone. I can tell you all the captains right now.
It's 1993.
But my thing is like, why couldn't, because I don't know how the captains change, but I'm just saying, say if there's some sort of battle and that's like his last battle and it's his tough battle, and then that's why he gives up the captain, whatever the case may be. I don't know how that passes down.
Well, he stops Khan for like a thing and he becomes an admiral.
The only thing I'm gonna say is it's basically it's like how our military works. He's a captain and you move up in rank. You will see in some of the movies, but it's like almost equated to like what's his name, Maverick from Top Gun. He gets busted down so he can keep flying. Okay. All Kirk wants is the chair. That's why, like in the first movie, he took over. He went to him and he took the chair away from the guy.
So they did a repeat on that. He went to Admiral, took the ship back, went to Admiral, and took the ship back.
Well, they do it again because it's them. So I equated to that and also Lethal Weapon 4. Remember when it was like he was like, you guys are captains now, stay out of trouble. You're no longer detectives, leave us alone. Because they didn't want, like Kirk doesn't cause trouble. Kirk is considered a hero, but it's like this dude just keeps wanting to fly the ship and he keeps getting into trouble. What do you do if the hero of the fleet dies?
Yeah.
You know, like he's so old, it's like they're going to be like looking at us like, why is he still a captain?
But that's also backfire on you. But you also want the hero out there saving the day.
But I mean, I think it comes into like the next generation needs to step up. You know, like it's their turn. It's their time to step in. Like he's been a great leader because like that other guy was perfectly. He could have taken. He couldn't have done V'ger. He could not have handled that. But like Dad from Seventh Heaven. I'm not saying his name. So, you know, he which by the way, the mom from Seventh Heaven is in number 4. But
it's in number 4. Okay.
Yeah.
I
so
think
Kirk hooks over the dad, and he hooks up with the mom in the 4th one.
That's fucked up. That's funny.
So I love it. But so like that's the cool part about Star Trek. With there have been many times they've offered him accommodation, Commodore or Admiral, things like that, and he's just like, no, I won't. And he does not want any other ship besides the Enterprise. It's the flagship. Besides Picard, probably the greatest captain of it. Pike is great too, but like it's Picard and it's Shatner. You know,
I know one thing. Fucking Bones and fucking Bones talks Kirk into calming his ass down and talks him into shit.
Thank you for noticing that. Thank you.
He's like, you know what it is? It's like Spock and him are on the shoulders. They're the ones that like help him out. They're like
the devil and the angel. The devil
and the angel.
It's not even the devil and the angel.
They're calming his ego.
Think about it. It's even better. Down. It's even better. And that's the beauty. If you watch the show of Kirk in these movies, Kirk knows that. He knows he has an ego. He knows he's a man of action. He knows he jumps in. And but he's also a brilliant strategist. So, but he has an ego. He knows he's not humble about it. So he has the most logical person he can trust on one side, and who is void of humanity, even though he starts to rub off and make him a little more human. But then he has the most human person he knows, Bones, keeping him grounded in his humanity, but also pushing him when he starts doubting himself. That's the beauty of this. They call it the triumvirate. That's the beauty. And number 5 is dog shit. Number 5 is not a good movie, but I love it. And here's why I love it, because all of the scenes with the 3 of them, because it kind of turns into Die Hard, but with the 3 of them trying to take back the ship. God damn, let me tell you. That's when we get the A, by the way. That is when we get the A. That's the new ship they go into, because the Enterprise is not in number 4, and you'll get there. But yeah, it's the beauty of that friendship. But when you watch something like that and you go back to the original series and you see it even more and what it meant, so good.
Nice.
But it makes sense when you get to the next generation too, and it's Picard with his counselor Troy, who's an empath and can feel his feelings. He knows he's a stern, diplomatic man who doesn't share his feelings, and he goes about his business. And then he has the adventurous one next to him, Riker, and the sensitive empath one to keep him grounded, because he knows he can be too much sometimes and intense. Fuck, I love this goddamn franchise. And I'm not even talking about the other franchise yet, which I fucking love just as much.
Oh, and plus that he has Data too.
Yeah.
Data becomes Data, but here's the thing. At first, it's not that he doesn't have trust for Data. He doesn't know how to go about Data. Just like kids. Like, he has problems with Wesley too, because Picard is not the smartest man on that ship, and he knows it. You have an android who knows everything. You have a boy in Wesley who's a genius and can do so much, who looks up to him. So like there's so many fucking layers I could talk about these movies and go into, but I know I'm trying not to, because I'm like I'm geeking out. Like literally there's a knot right here of like information that I could be sharing with you for hours about this and be like, man, this happened and this happened. And then of course it makes sense, because then you go back to I'm gonna stop. I need a breath. Because now you're going to talk about Star Wars, and it's going to be the same thing.
Before we forget, before the wheels spin.
No, there's no wheel. Remember, because we're doing the franchise. There's no wheel.
That's what I meant. Before we jump into the next movie, we didn't give a rating for this one.
Nope.
Correct. Let's do that now. Bam.
I'm giving this one a 9. I love the story and everything in the back, the origin story, like Khan and everything. Awesome.
Oh, they got fucked up. 45-14. The Browns went home early.
That's sad though, because Joe Flacco was only getting paid $75,000 every win. So if he lost, he wasn't getting paid. It does, and I hope somebody picks him up, because he's a fucking brilliant quarterback. Anyway, sorry. My rating for Wrath of Khan is a full-on, hard-on 11. This movie is one of my absolute favorites. It's in my top 10 movies of all time. I think it's fantastic, and everybody should watch it. Even if you're not a Star Trek fan, you will like it.
I agree. I actually agree with that.
But I do not think all of them are 10.
Yo, this shit mixed with the episode, I'm going to have to agree with Mick on the 10. The episode just brought it to that, because the way they connected so well and told the story so well and helped you understand the story, like we were basically mentioning throughout the whole episode, when we were discussing it, like it just works. It was like, it's almost like, it's fucking like watching, it almost felt like just watching multiple episodes, just back to back to back to back to back, the way that it connected. And it's like, oh shit, now this episode's not okay. So now the story's finally finished. But my thing is, again, I wish the story could have continued. I really do wish the story could have continued. Like, not ended the way it ended there. I know you said he comes back and stuff. I wish the story could have continued. And
it does. Just watch 3. It like literally picks up where it left off. And they go and save Spock. Like, I'm not ruining anything. It's called The Search for Spock. Like, and it's directed by Leonard Nimoy.
You're like, wait a minute, he's dead. How are you going to search for him?
I think,
and they give you a hint at the end. They show his fucking thing laying on a planet.
The Search for Spock, I will watch it, and I have an appreciation for a lot of things in it, and it's mostly the characters. And I'm gonna get fully into this now, so I just have to let a little bit out. It's like letting a little bit of air out, so it's not too tight. It's it totally, and this is a cliffhanger for how far I'll get into it next week. It totally ruins quite a few beautiful things that it's set up in this movie. Like, and I mean ruins it. But I am glad they did it, because we got Leonard Nimoy all the way into the new movies, and as Spock, our Spock, not different fucking universe Spock, is our Spock. So that's a beautiful fucking thing, and I'm so glad, because in my opinion, of all of Star Trek, he should be the face of it.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
He kind of is. I mean, live long and
he is. He's definitely, like, at the very least, I'll say, even for I don't even want to say casual, just people that may have scrolled through and seen it, they'll know at least, oh, he's from Star Trek or Star something. They'll know that, which is saying I know some people are like, oh, that's not something. No, that's saying a lot, because they know he's from something like that. Like, people have never watched the show or the movies before, but they just know that he's from Star something at the very least. That's saying a lot.
I can say with a surety that in a whole, if Kirk and Spock aren't like universally known, Spock definitely is.
Oh yeah,
I would say Spock. Yeah, I would say Spock more than Kirk.
Yeah, and I mean, I would argue it, but at the same time, I would still maybe agree a bit, like because I think because he was in the newer movies, it kind of kicked up and made him part of the legacy.
That's it right there, because then you go to like I remember him from the shows and stuff, and now I know him from watching these older movies, but that's where I know him from, and then seeing the handful of newer movies that I've seen, the one or two that I've seen with the wife. So it's like you know what I mean. So I seen that, and I see Spock, like I see that familiar face, and then even though there's someone, even if it's like a remake, reboot, say if the guy's playing Kirk or whoever, that's still a different Captain Kirk. It's not. You know what I mean? But this is the same Spock. It's the same. So it's like that like not only is Spock, it's the gentleman who played Spock is the face of Star Trek.
Nimoy, yeah.
And sorry about that. You go.
It's all right. Same thing with I watched the TV show Big Bang Theory, and Sheldon's the main character, and he's obsessed with Leonard Nimoy. So through many episodes, they mentioned Spock.
And actually, Will Wheaton, we had him on our show. We did an interview.
Oh yeah, Will Wheaton's on the show too. With Big Bang
he was
Theory.
Like his greatest nemesis, and Will Wheaton played Wesley on A Next Generation.
He plays himself on the show. It's pretty cool.
You'll actually only see him in one movie, and that's in Nemesis, and it's only a quick scene, because in the show he left and his storyline went somewhere. He didn't die, but he went somewhere else.
Yeah, went somewhere. Yeah,
and he could come back, but it wasn't going to be normal. So like the very special situation he comes back for in Nemesis is why you see him there, and they completely cut him out. But like, I would say, so just to kind of before we get into Star Wars, which trust me, again, I'll have more to say. If Spock is the overall face of it, and Picard up there too. Picard, I think, might be better known than Kirk, but Spock being the overall, the most beautiful part about that is Star Trek was a pilot. Kirk was not the captain. It was Jeffrey Hunter was the actor, and he played Christopher Pike. And Spock was not his science officer. It wasn't his first in command. He had Majel Barrett was Gene Roddenberry's wife, played number one in it, and she was his number one. Anyway, my point is, and I know I'm long-winded on this, is the cool part about that is that he was there. Like they wound up, because Jeffrey Hunter left or I think he passed away, reworking it with a new Kirk, and they didn't do that pilot, but he was the first cast out of everybody. And out of everybody we know as we know it in the bridge crew. So like that's why to me, I picture Spock when I think of Star Trek. Like he's been there from beginning to end. And
makes sense.
So yeah, that was my very long.
So it's the same thing as Star Wars. When you think Star Wars, usually it's Yoda or Darth Vader that pops up in my head.
Darth would be a hard argument. Like who I think of personally is Obi-Wan, but because that's my favorite character.
Yeah.
See, and me, it's a mixture. I mean, I agree with the Darth Vader. I agree with the Yoda, and I'll even throw in Chewie, C-3PO, and R2-D2,
Those
and Luke.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, I got some shit about this. I got something to say about that. By the way,
but we'll get there though. We'll get there. I just want to finish off with Star Trek. If there's any other, do you guys have anything else you want to say about it?
No, I owe some love to Star Wars. I'm gonna shut up now.
And then
Star Trek, that was a great movie.
Oh hell yeah!
My favorite one so far, even though we only watched 2.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
See if that changes, because I love Wrath of Khan. It's in my top 10, but my favorite Star Trek movies are not in my top 10. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna say what. I'm just saying I have 2. One from the Wrath of Khan just is a great movie in my opinion, and I love it. I do. Yeah, it has special meaning, but there's a favorite for me. And there's actually 2 favorites that are kind of like coexist, but we'll get to that when we get there.
Appreciate you, G. Appreciate you, G.
Yeah, like I said, on this journey, I'm going to see what my favorite movie is out of them, and I'm going to see if I'm a Trekkie or I don't even know what they call Star Wars people. What do they call them?
Yeah, Mick. What do they call them?
I don't. I mean, it depends, really. Like, I mean, people go by all different things. We don't really have. I don't think we have anything other than like.
So it's not. So they don't have a name like Trekkie. They don't have their own.
No, not really. But I mean, they do. But it depends. Like, some people will identify as like like Rebel or Empire. It's really like a name if you're thinking about it. Like, you're just a fan.
Okay.
So I'll just say Star Wars just to cover the whole thing without excluding anybody. Star Wars franchise versus the Star Trek franchise, just to not exclude anybody from either one. And we're gonna see which ones we like better, because so far it's tied for me, because I believe I did like the first movie of Star Wars better than Star Trek, but this time, well, we're gonna get into it, but it definitely flipped. It definitely flipped a lot, and I'm gonna tell you why soon. But before we get into that, I do want to let you guys know I'm going to do something. I'm going to start doing something fun on here because we have these questions and stuff. But I want to pop this up here first, just to let you guys know what movies we're doing next week. Because again, there's no wheel. It's not going to be a wheel for a while. So I figured I'd just throw a quick poster thing together to let you guys know. Boom. Next Saturday.
Love it.
And I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Here's the thing. You're starting off so strong. So like I like Phantom Menace, but I'm like, and I like the motion picture, but I don't love them. So like there was no like you saw just how enthusiastic I got about Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, even beforehand, and I see why.
That's gonna probably now. Here's the fun part, and I'm not. I have to rewatch them. I'm gonna rewatch a couple this week just to really kind of get the feel. But you might see that sway, because like the next up on Star Wars going in, like you're gonna see me like in,
Okay.
I'm gonna say this right now, guys. I'm hoping, because we're gonna be doing a fucking countdown list on Popcorn and Pints at the end of the year this year. Surprise, motherfuckers! Yes, we talked about it already behind the scenes. We didn't do it last year because it was just too late, and a bunch of stuff happened. We were taking breaks and all that, but we're gonna do one pretty much. It's gonna be like the end of the year for Horror Search 30 Popcorn and Pints. That last week, we ain't doing shit but a countdown, and then we're just taking a break, enjoying our families, refreshing, and we'll be back in the new year for some fun shit for you guys. But just had to throw that out there just so you guys know. But the reason I'm saying that is because I hope that this movie, The Wrath of Khan, and I'm including the episode with it, like it's like you got to watch the episode first and then watch the movie. I'm hoping that this is like down there in my top 5 of first time watch. Because this was really good.
You really like Attack of the Clones.
Yeah,
Wrath.
Wrath is really good.
It was the Wrath. What it was too was because like you do not have to be a Star Trek fan to like this story, because it was
you don't
have to
be a Star Trek fan to watch the movies, any of them, just so anybody knows.
That's true.
I feel I got that's true. I do agree, but I got that way more from this film and from this show, from that episode, and from this film than I did from the first episode or from the first movie.
And to add to that point, just so you know, that tone of that first film, it's done now. They follow the tone of the second one going on. That's Star Trek from now on. And Wrath of Khan has inspired its direction, and the way it went has inspired even TV shows to act in certain different ways.
What it did for me was like, not to sorry for cutting you off. What it did for me was it was like, it's not just another space movie, and no disrespect to people who enjoy space movies, and I don't mean to disrespect to anybody across the board when I say this. I'm just saying it's because it's simpler. And I know how people get uptight because us horror fans do the same shit, but we just say shit because it's simpler. I don't know all the phrases and terms, and it's too much to fucking figure out. But this felt more like just a movie, and it just happened to be in space. So it wasn't like, oh, how can I word this? Like, I know there was focusing on shit that's going on up there, but it wasn't like a focus on space. It wasn't like all. It was like you're focusing on the movie, you're focusing on the story, you're focusing on the characters. They're building these characters, especially from the episode. That's where you really get to learn about these characters, so I don't have to do too much of the building in the movies. And I'm sitting here watching this, and I'm like, okay, all right. We have a bunch of show series, and we have a bunch of movies, and we have a bunch of these show series that come out every single fucking year, and movies, but they never connect. Why not connect like this to where you do all the building up in the shows, right? All the building up, all that background shit in the show, because people love watching. You don't mind watching that when you're watching at home with the wife and kids, or whoever you watch it with, or by yourself, whatever. You don't mind that streaming it, watching it, you know. What I mean? But when you go to watch it in the theaters, it's like, what the fuck? When you go to watch it in theaters, you want to see the big explode. You want to see the big, oh my gosh moments. You want to see that in the big screen, like with this.
Can I just say, the awesomeness that you just said, like that's the cool thing about Star Trek, though, and that's why I respect it a lot more in the sense of the writing, is because you will always see in further Trek it call back. It always calls back. There's always something that they're called back to, and the thing I really like about Trek is when leaving the fight against Khan. How is that a fight? That's not like a ship fight in Star Wars. Like, you're getting the fast pace and I love it. It's amazing, and I love that you have that juxtapose type of franchises. But the thing about Star Trek is they always have to think their way out.
It's like a game of chess.
Planned. Yeah,
it's like you're playing chess.
But it has to be, because everything has to work within the physics that we know. Star Wars, you have the Force, you have everything else, and that's great too, but it's fantastical and it's hard to connect with. Star Trek shows you, it's like watching MacGyver. It's like, oh shit, yeah, I don't need a gun. I can just get out of this.
Yep. I got a question for you, Mick. Is there any other episodes on Star Trek that connect directly with the movie, like Wrath of Khan, like through this franchise that you know of? I'm only asking because if there is, I'm very interested in, and I'm very interested in like watching that episode, then watching the movie, or whatever one has to go first or second. Just because I was just like, the way, if it, even if it doesn't connect as beautifully, but if it's like they do go together kind of thing, and it's like it's gonna help you understand the story or whatever's going on a little better.
Here's the thing: I am a host for anybody. Again, this is not more for you guys who I know. I host the Warp Factor Fiction podcast. It is a chronological rewatch podcast of Star Trek from beginning to end. We started on Enterprise season 1, which takes it back to the beginning in the original days of early Starfleet, and we're going to go all the way to the end in order. The only things that will be out of order are going to be the things that come out while we're doing this, and then we'll tag that on to the end. And the reason I'm saying that is because I'm telling you, as I'm rewatching, and now we rewatched Enterprise, all 4 seasons of Enterprise. We've rewatched Discovery seasons 1 and 2, and then because after 2, it jumps ahead like 900 years. So like that's going to be like the last thing we watch. So we 1 and 2, and then we started Strange New World seasons 1 and 2. We are on a break. We're picking back up with original series these next few months. And the reason I say that is they do such a wonderful job of not just connecting to the past, but as future shows that come out that take place before anything else, they do a wonderful way of connecting to the future, which is important too. And you don't realize how important it is when you, especially now we're watching the prequels and we're starting to see like, it just doesn't fit with what you were saying in the original trilogy, you know, like certain things. I'm not saying everything. That doesn't happen in Star Trek, you know, with the exception of little slips like the Chekhov thing and stuff like that, which you kind of got to, that's the suspension of disbelief. All right, it wasn't there, but can we just pretend he's there? That's the guy who's on the mission. I think that it would have been, it's perfect. It's perfect the way it's connected. And yeah, there is. You're going to see the Borg in First Contact. You're going to see him come back in another movie, and we'll get to that. So as we go on, you're going to see how these all connect, and the beautiful part about the new J.J. Abrams movies, the Romulans, who you probably won't see until later, Nemesis probably, the Romulans, who are a really big race of alien, were always at war with us. And after Nemesis, we become peaceful with them, the beginning of the peace. And then 10 years later, when J.J. Abrams' movie comes out, it's all those Romulans who lost their planet because Starfleet couldn't save it in time are now back in time and trying to kill. I realize this is a lot to throw at everybody, and I'm just saying, to answer your question, it's perfectly connected.
Okay.
Even in alternate universes, they somehow connected everything.
Damn.
That's cool.
So, and but that's the thing. There is no easy answer to say yes to.
Yeah,
I get it. So listen, here's what I'm gonna tell you guys then. If you want to figure out all the connections and shit, go over to the Scene Snobs, sign up for that Patreon, and go check out that Warp Factor Fiction.
It does come out after time, but if you want it like fresh when it comes out, yeah, it's on the Patreon first.
That's what I mean. You can get it fresh when it comes out, and I mean, hey, you can come over here and get the movie reviews. You hop over there and get the stuff they give you. They're gonna give you a deep dive into the nerdism of the shows and everything. We're giving you the movies, so
that's where we get here. And I would love to invite you to. We will be doing. I believe it's going to be, because we'll do TOS, then the animated series, then the second movie. So probably around June, we'll be reviewing for that month Wrath of Khan. We're going to do an extra in-depth retrospective, invite people on to come on. So if you want to come on for the first and second movie, or any of them or all of them, we would love to have you, because this is going to be more of a panel versus when we go episode by episode of what we thought,
Okay. Yeah. For Wrath of Khan, yes, I want to. Let me say it like this: as long as I'm free, the wife doesn't have any plans that I don't know of or I forgot.
Well, that's
you guys know how to go. You're all married.
That's a pre-recorded thing. So
either way, as long as I'm free, yes.
He's like, no, you got to do it on a day I don't want to be there. After he watches 3.
No, because the Wrath of Khan, I want to see that. I would love to. It'll give me a reason to go back and watch the episode and the movie again.
I cannot wait. I can't wait until we get. I can't wait till we get there. I can't say anything because you don't know, and I don't want to ruin it.
And there's so much, man. There's so it's oh my gosh. I swear, since the Versus thing, and then we were just talking about stuff behind the scenes with the sci-fi stuff, and then with the Godzilla stuff now, and it's like there's going to be so many awesome franchises you're going to see us go through between all of our shows in one way or another, whether it's a Versus like we do over here on Popcorn and Pines and Horror with Sir Sturdy, or whether it's how Mick is doing it over there with Godzilla, or the way that the unique way he's doing it over there with Star Trek. Yeah. So he's doing it like you're going to get something. You're going to get like these big franchises, sometimes 2 at once. I mean, if it's over here, if it's over on our end, yeah. It's
well, then the cool part is, if we're always doing it, and we always kind of keep it similar, which is what I really like. Like we'll go in sort of the same directions with what we're doing, and it kind of works out. But just to add to that, we are doing a Godzilla thing too. That's not just anybody who's interested in that. If you like Godzilla, we're just watching all 40 films. And the TV show, and we're reviewing them each week. We do like 3 films, so keep an eye out for that. That's just a special for the 70th. Star Trek will be going on for years.
Oh yeah. No, but I was just throwing it out there. Like, it's cool because, again, I'm gonna keep repeating this shit, and I know we still didn't have to talk about Star Wars, but if you guys know, this is kind of how we felt about the movie. Anyway, I'm really enjoying doing this because, again, I would have never went through either one of these franchises as much as I kind of wanted to for Star Wars. I didn't even know Star Trek had a franchise like this. I'm not gonna lie to you, but Star Wars, I always wanted to go through them, but I'm just like, oh, they're so long. When am I gonna have the time? Plus podcast. Mind you, we've had Popcorn and Pints, I think, going on 3 years, and we reviewed 2 movies. We've been doing that for like going on 2 years, so more or less. So it's like we could have did this shit, knocked this out, but it's working now. But but again, what I'm getting at though is like, so I'm getting the opportunity to watch the Star Trek, the Star Wars, and the Godzilla franchises all around the same time. And I'm just like, this is fucking awesome. Like, this is some really dope movie history that I'm gonna get a dive. I'm gonna get like an education on, not a super deep dive. Like I'm not going through every show, every crevice, and like really diving into the movies like that. We're doing the reviews how we do the reviews, but just to have those on like my card, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like my card stamped, my movie card stamped with these on there now. I'm excited for that.
That's what I love about you guys with this stuff, though. And I'm sorry, I know I'm talking over, and I apologize. I'm all over the place, but that's what I love about your shows, Horror Search 30 and this. Is like you guys haven't really seen these. You do pick movies that you haven't seen and put them on a wheel. Like these you've all seen, but like even then, like you don't really remember Star Trek. So it's cool.
No, see for me, I've never seen any of the Star Trek. The only Star Trek movies I've seen, besides what we've reviewed, is some of the newer ones.
Yeah.
One or two of the newer ones, and that's the only Star Trek.
I think I've seen one newer one. And I seen Wrath of Khan. I only seen Wrath of Khan. I didn't see no other ones. I didn't even see the first motion picture. Never seen that. That was the first time.
Yeah.
Wrath of Khan was the first Star Trek movie I seen. And that was years. And I was like probably fucking 11, 10.
Yeah, that was but that's the coolest thing about this and seeing you guys, and that's what adds, and that's why I do it too. Mm-hmm. You know, it adds to our repertoire. I feel like if you're a film fan and you know, that's fine, you haven't seen it, and then if you in like with your reviews, but we are building such a plethora of knowledge for movies, and these franchises are so important to report on. Like I feel it feels good to be able to, like you said, have that knowledge.
Just to even be able to be like, you know, when someone's talking about, oh yeah, I've seen that, and something like Wrath of Khan, oh yo, that was awesome, blah blah blah. I may not be able to go as deep dive as you guys can, but but yo, that was fucking dope. That was fucking dope. I fucking enjoyed that type of shit.
I would be very surprised, Sturdy, if at some point in your life after doing all of these Star Trek movies, you don't get curious and maybe pop on one of the shows one time. I'm not saying you're gonna be a huge fan, but like,
oh no, I enjoy this.
I could see you.
No, I enjoy the show because like Next Generation with Picard.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that. I haven't done it in a while, but I would go right onto Netflix, and sometimes me and the wife would watch it. Sometimes I just throw it on just for something to kind of lay down and fall asleep to, because it's one of those shows to where like, yes, there's battling in it, but it's not like a wild, loud, crazy ass battle. So it's almost like a peaceful thing. If you doze off, you doze off. If you miss some stuff, you're not too mad you missed it. You just go back into the next episode. Or you may. It depends on how bad you. Because like I said, for me, it's one of them lay down shows. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. It's just like, you know, there's a lot, and I know my black ass is not going to even try to go through and try to catch up on all that content because it's a lot. It's a fucking lot.
My sleep sound, not every night, but when I need it, my sleep sound machine has the engine room of the Enterprise D, because it's just like a, you know, like real subtle.
Yeah.
Oh God, does it feel good to just listen to that?
Yo, you know, speaking of which, we didn't even mention this, and one thing I love about Star Trek, fucking love, is the beam thing, the beam me up. That fucking
teleporter.
It's
you know, they hated that. Gene Roddenberry hated that. He didn't want to do that.
Oh my
God, that was save on the budget.
Wow,
that was to save on the budget, so you didn't have to do shuttles. He that's why Seth MacFarlane. By the way, if you're looking for like a Star Trek show,
Orville.
The Orville's amazing. It is a Star Trek show that is just because Star Trek wouldn't buy it because they're idiots. Not Star Trek, but Paramount wouldn't buy it because they're idiots. It just like became its own thing. But they don't do transporters in it. They use the shuttles to fly down to the planet because was Roddenberry's original
okay.
And they just couldn't pull it off because of budget, because then you would have to have some sort of coverage here and there. It was just easier.
I listen. I think it's a happy accident. I fucking love it, and it was like futuristic. I mean, yeah, it was definitely futuristic. And now, shit, who wouldn't want to be able to teleport? Yo,
I'm so glad they kept it. I'm so glad
I'll
they
tell
kept
you
it.
right Motherfucking now. I'm coming to Carolina Fear Fest this year. How do you think I'd be if that shit was real? How the fuck, yo, Mick? Listen, I'm gonna teleport to your house real quick, and then I'm gonna teleport to wherever me and the wife are staying. I just want to come say hi. if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, come play cards on Saturday nights. We'll all get together.
Save on gas. You
Dude,
just teleport. Just bring all your
podcasts.
luggage.
Just podcasts.
Yep.
Although, in fairness, and what I love about Star Trek's transporter, there were limits. Like, the ship could beam you down anywhere as long as it could read it. You know,
that's fair.
And they wouldn't beam you down blindly because they never know, you could land up in a fucking rock or some shit. And that's what I liked about, even in the first movie, when they showed the bad side effects of when they were all melted and such, because you're spreading your molecules. That's why I love Bones. Bones hates being transported.
Okay, all right.
He's like old school, like he's still in like our era. Yep. He's like, I don't trust that damn shit, that technology. I'm not sitting in there.
Give me the shit.
Well, let's get into Star Wars, baby.
Yeah, let's get into Star Wars. So are we doing ratings first?
Star Wars.
Are we doing ratings?
Before we get into that, actually, before we dive into the ratings, I do want to pull one of these fun little questions up.
Question?
Did it work?
No, it's blank.
That's it.
1 second. I know why.
It's black like the deepest space.
Oh, I see it now. How would a lightsaber duel between a Jedi and a Klingon warrior? The Klingon would die.
Oh yeah, he would. Easy.
You die. All right, wait. Actually, let me ask you this: Is it somebody using a lightsaber, or is it a Jedi or a Sith?
Or a Jedi, or
it has to be somebody with the Force. If somebody has the Force, the Klingon's dead, and the Klingon would still fight because the Klingon's willing to die in battle. But that's why he would die. He would be an aggressor, not thinking the light sword would do anything.
Yep.
And it would show.
It would just melt right through there with his weapon right through him all the way down. Yeah.
Wait until you get to Rogue One, and then you're like, wait till you get to next week. The whole younglings. I'm gonna have a whole rant on the younglings. Don't worry, we're gonna go.
Shit. I can't wait. I can't wait. And what I love about this, Mick, and don't even feel bad about it, is because I love your enthusiasm and you know about the franchises and you're teaching us about these franchises. So I fucking love it. It's like, I
feel like such a fraud. I have imposter syndrome right now because I'm like,
this is what podcasting is, though, people. This is what you want when you're running a show, when you're hosting a show, when you're on a show. If you have somebody that knows more than you about whatever subject you're talking about, even if you're the host, shut the fuck up and let them go, because let them cook. Because you're learning some shit about it. You want to know about it. You want to know more about the conversation. And the conversation's going great. And it's like, oh, shit. Then you pick up on some shit, and then you continue the conversation. Like, pick up on these things, people.
And it's the thing. Like, I mean, even if you're wrong, like, even if I'm, like, wrong about something, I'm not. I know I'm not wrong. Like, I'm giving you useless information on top of it, and being like, well, I remember when Kirk, fought the Battlewondians and that shit doesn't exist. Like, shut up. Like, I'm just a little off. I might be off by an episode or something, shit like that. I love.
You were off real quick with Star Trek with episode. You said episode 20. It was episode 23, but who's counting?
Was it 23? I could have sworn it was 20 or 21. Oh shit!
Nope, it was 23.
Now,
it was wrong, 100% wrong. He fucked up.
You don't understand this, but that's eating away at my soul right now.
Again,
I'm glad my friends are saying it, but it is eating away.
But the thing is, out of all the episodes, though, that's pretty close. Because you sit there, you're like, out of all the seasons and everything, you're like, hey, what episode was that one? You're like,
of course I'm talking shit. I'm busting balls.
Yeah,
but
I got a Star Wars question. I know. I asked in the chat earlier.
Okay.
And Aaron, you told me to save it for the show.
Yes.
All right. So before we get into talking about it, and it's a scene in here that it clicked in my mind with this question. Mick.
Yeah.
Why can't Yoda tell if the senator and everything is on the dark side? Because when Anakin first came, he sensed darkness in him.
Yeah, because
why can't he do it? Why can't he do that for everybody?
It's almost
like, why can't he tell he's a Sith?
It's a very simple, because when you are a trained Sith, like Anakin's not. Anakin's just a scared kid.
So his brain is just scattered.
It's all over. They know he's like all over the place, very emotional kid. That's why they didn't want to train him. It wasn't a matter of he could have been powerful, but they're looking at him like he's riddled with fear, which is the first step to going to the dark side. And he's unsure of himself. He's this, that, and the other thing. He's like, he's too old. And that was the thing. You go like basically at birth or one. Like if you have it, the Jedi take you and you get trained. Like you leave your family. So there is that, that feel of, like Sidious, who is Darth Sidious, is actually Emperor Palpatine, who is Senator Palpatine right now. Then he becomes Supreme Chancellor and so on and so forth. And you'll see it in the movies, but as he goes, Senator Palpatine is one of the most powerful Sith of all time. And he knows he's probably on Yoda's level of power, it's just a darker power. Like the more pure part of the light force is more powerful, but that balance is the dark is still there and the dark can corrupt. So like there's a lot of power on both sides. So yeah, like it's very like you don't always know. Like it's almost like I don't know. I don't like when you're trying to find an ailment in somebody and you're looking for the symptoms. It's like you're looking for this thing that they have, this power, and they'll go out and you can feel it. But if you can hide it, in which the Sith were always good at hiding when they came down to the Rule of Two, it's no wonder. And plus, he knows Yoda. He knows Mace Windu. He's very rarely around Yoda. Go back and look. Like he's around Mace Windu quite a bit. He's never really around Yoda.
Yeah, he's like he'll figure it out. I gotta stay away from him. Yeah, but that's a good point. That's true.
He also clouds it by making Count Dooku, because Count Dooku was introduced in this one. So, Count Dooku was Yoda's apprentice.
Oh, yeah.
Yoda taught him.
Yeah,
and he went on to teach Qui-Gon. And that's the line down there. So turning Count Dooku would definitely mess with, because now you had Darth Maul, and they think that's one, and then Count Dooku resurfaces. That was all in the plan. There was never two. Palpatine knew what he had to do, and he was corrupting Dooku while, or luring him to the side, saying, "I have Maul. He's just a pawn. You're coming over," and then we see everybody's a pawn until Anakin gets there.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah.
Sure.
Which I will say one thing where I can shoot Anakin some bail of why you can see why he really turned is when his mom dies, and I'm just like,
that's not.
He didn't. No, that's not when he turned. You'll see when he turns. No, that's when the shell starts cracking.
Well, shell started cracking in the first one. Shell started cracking when it's all those are cracks in the shell. So like in the beginning when he was like, "You're too young," and all that, they saw the ads. They saw it. Like there's cracks in the shell already. It is a pivotal moment when he kills the Sand People, because he is justified in the fact that, and I'm talking in his mind, like they murdered innocent people. And he is a defender of justice and things like that. So he took it. It was warped in his way, and he mowed down everybody. So I'm not saying it was justified, but in his mind, it's justified. So it's not quite a turn. So he doesn't see it as, when he turns, dude, you'll know, and you're gonna know it in this next one. When he turns and it pops, and it's like he's the bad guy now.
Yeah. Vital. Oh, go ahead. Continue on.
No, I was just gonna say it's when he loses his wife that he loses all humanity.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Wow. That's that. Yep.
So because that's when he's fully like, it's so poetic too, because as she's dying, the mask is like comes over his face, and then he starts breathing. And when we get there, and it's next week, so we'll be there very soon.
I can't wait.
So between that, him and his wife, let's go back years. Let's go back to this episode. Is that kind of weird to you? She was like what, 17? He was 10.
I mean, in this
called him like a little brother. Annie called him little Annie. Then now he comes back 10 years later or 15 years later, whatever that was.
Oh no, she was 17 when he was 10.
10, right?
10 or 11. Yeah.
So he comes back. It's like what, 10 years later, they said, or 15?
No, it's about he's about 17 or 18.
Okay, so but she's 27.
If
no,
Natalie
no,
Portman at 27 and you were 17, 18.
No, but I'm saying when she first met him, it was like a little brother. She was calling him Little Annie and everything. He was a 10-year-old.
Yeah, but then she didn't see him for like all that time.
I don't know. It's weird to me still. It's kind of weird.
It could be, but at the same
see,
I look at it
differently.
Stops, and I'll explain why it's not weird to me.
Because it can get worse. You'll see in the later movies, it gets worse. You think that's bad? Wait till the other movies.
Oh wait, yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. But with this
there was a problem.
With this one though, James, you could even say it could be the whole babysitter thing. Just think about it like that. So it's not like a little brother. Like she used to babysit him.
Well, kind of, yeah.
No.
Listen. That's better than the brother sister aspect.
That is not what happened. No. He always idolized her and loved her. She thought he was adorable and kind of wrote him off. And then they didn't see each other for almost 10 years. And he's grown. He's a Jedi. He's in shape. And now he's protecting her. And he's still in love with her. Because if you remember, she's not that interested in him in the beginning of this movie.
Yeah.
He grows on her, but she did have feelings. She did have care for him. So if that care at one point was like, you know what? You're like a little brother to me. You're my friend. You're such a great kid. It's not her brother, so it's not weird. And
no, I understand that.
Yeah, he grew up,
and not blood or nothing. Yeah.
Now you could make an argument for the distance in age, but we never do for men. So I say we drop it for women.
Oh yeah, no. Oh, another add on to that. So let's get to the part where he comes back and he tells her he's crying. I killed them all, even the kids.
No.
This is how messed up where they get the stereotype. Well, stereotype. I know some women that really do it. Damaged men. God. She goes, it's okay. You killed them. I love you, you murderer. I still love you.
She saw the passion.
She said she stayed with the mass murderer.
She did, but that's it's true. She did, but like, all right. Can I posit a different idea? All right.
Here's the thing.
The whole galaxy is connected in a way that like our world is connected. Like we may not know anyone from, I don't know, maybe Kazakhstan, but we know Kazakhstan exists and we know people live there and we know what they look like. We can look up things about them. But like, let's face facts. When people get bombed in different countries, I'm like, oh man, that's really sad. But are we devastated like we would be if it happened right here, like 9/11 when it happened? Mm-hmm. So my point to that is, sand people who are notorious for taking people and murdering them on Tatooine, not really connected to. Yeah, she might think of them as more animalistic. Now, is that a racial thing? We can get into that. That's a whole different thing. But what I'm saying is, we see that in the world now, so it's believable that, you know what, they didn't kill your mother. They are evil. I met your mother's family, and they're sweet people, and so like connecting with them in that way. I've lost people too, and that's why I love that but she's devoted to him and she loves him. He's obsessed with her.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's where from the beginning, she falls in love with him, and she thinks he just loves her, but he's obsessed, and that's where all of this comes in.
That's true. He has an obsession. It's not like love. It's like obsession. It's like it's deeper than that. Yeah, it's crazy.
So yeah.
But yeah, I just noticed that part. I looked at my wife. I was like, bitches are crazy. He just killed fucking kids and everything. And she's up on that, about to go suck on his knob later.
That's the best part, and we'll get to it. We'll get to it the next one. But like that whole killing kids thing, they really gloss over it in this one.
Yeah. I know you're talking about. I seen the next one.
No, I know, but he might not have.
I have not.
Okay, you're gonna see it. Yeah.
And so like with this one too, this was the first time watch, but I seen like bits and pieces of it. Which I guess we should hop into our reviews for these, huh? I forgot all about that. This one here. I'll tell you why in a little bit, but a 5.
Oh.
Ouch.
Ooh. Interesting.
Well, I'm higher than that. I'm at a 6 for this one.
You said ouch, like you were gonna give it like an 8 or a 9.
No, a 6 is good for me. 5 is
But you gotta see 5's not
Oh
bad.
yeah, 5 is good for you. That's
You
true.
gotta
That's
remember,
true.
I do negative from a negative 10 to a
That's right.
positive 10 for everything.
Your shit's
My
crazy.
scale's
That's
way
right.
30 has a different scale.
So here's the deal. Here's how I rank this. I rank them in order of my favorite to my least favorite, and that's the number they are. So like this would go to the full number. So Attack of the Clones, after the trilogy, the Holy Trilogy, after Rogue One and after Revenge of the Sith, I might argue that Attack of the Clones is there. So what does that make that? 6? So I'll give it a 6.
There you go. All right.
Which I think is a fair rating for this.
Yeah,
I didn't really care for this movie until the last maybe half hour, like the lightsaber scenes.
Well, here's the thing, because this is where a lot of the politics start coming in these movies.
And you need to have them because
you got to have them, or the story won't make sense. So there's going to be a lot of dragging and politics.
It could have been better though. I okay. You know how I have my show? Did I fix?
Yeah.
And to kind of, and I'm sorry, I know I'm promoting, and I don't mean to do that, but I did it with this. But like, so on that show, I take old movies that people generally consider bad, and I try to fix them. You know, like, and from my vision of what I might change to make it work. I did that with this movie, and what I did with this movie was I feel like it was real missed opportunity to create a love triangle between Obi-Wan, Padme, and Anakin. And what I thought this movie should have set up was his paranoia of Obi-Wan's closeness to Padme. And then even when they get married, maybe it would end in suspicion. So that way, when they're fighting and Obi-Wan didn't do anything, and Obi-Wan's not trying to be with her, he's just a Jedi living his life because he's the motherfucking goat. And I don't care what anybody says. He's, as a Jedi, he's the goat. Anyone with the Force, he's the goat. So I maintain, like, for this, he comes in, you go into that third one, they're at odds, they've been fighting a war, you know, they're both spending time away, but at different times as generals. You could have made such a great thing that pushes him over the edge, just his paranoia of Padme and why they get disconnected in all of this while she's pregnant and such. And you could have turned everything upside down. Now he's married to a senator and they're having babies. It's this big scandal. Palpatine's using it to bring him over to, like, I'll protect you. I'm going to save you. Like, this is wrong what you're doing. Dude, I'm sorry. I know I'm not making coherent sense because I would normally have it scripted on my show, but
yeah, but
you know, I get it. No, I get it.
I think it would have been better to drive Anakin off and why he hates Obi-Wan so much. But at the end of it, Obi-Wan just let him believe it when he went off, right? When he left him for dead, he let him believe it because he thought, like, maybe his hate would save him from the pain. You know, and I thought that would have been beautifully poetic. So when they meet again, even if you just go by A New Hope, and when, you know, Obi-Wan is taken out in the lightsaber battle, is the fact that, like, he just let him believe, like, he's the cause of all of Anakin's turmoil, even though he wasn't. It was all Anakin the whole time.
Yeah.
But as his friend, that was his sacrifice.
I
don't know. That was listen, that's my fan fiction, and I'm sticking to it.
Listen, hey, I'm not mad at it, and shit, I don't know anything about the franchise, so shit, it makes sense to me. It makes fucking sense to me.
You know, do you know who Darth Vader is in this?
Luke, I am your father. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I'm like, how deep do we go here, Sturdy?
No. So again with the Star Wars movies, I seen the trilogy, and you know the trilogy. I don't even have to say. I've seen the trilogy. And then I seen episode 1, and I seen some of episode 2, because when I'm watching it today, like the whole flying scene and all that silly ass shit, I did not like. It reminded me of every other fucking sci-fi movie that came out around that time. It was making me think of some that we reviewed earlier on, James, on Popcorn and Pints. Not necessarily looking the exact same, but just kind of like similar-esque-ish. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I hate when movies do that, like when they catch on to something because it's popular, but it's like the bad popular thing that they catch on to or stick to. Or they think that's gonna be
what flying scene? Are you talking about where he was chasing Jenga?
Yes.
Yeah, where they're fighting in the rain.
Where he's chasing, it's where they're flying in the thing, or him and Obi-Wan are in the thing.
In the car in the city,
in the city. Yeah,
oh, the bounty hunter, not Django. It wasn't Django. It was bounty hunter that was working.
Oh yeah, that was that female bounty hunter. That's right. That's right.
That scene right there.
Shapeshifter.
I was just like, oh my gosh.
That's right.
It was
okay.
So
I thought the scene wasn't bad.
It was too. I didn't like it. It was too
long.
It looked, and it did. And you know what it is too is because it probably looked good back in what 99, 2000. But like seeing it now, it looks like shit. Because they tried. Because
I don't know about that. I don't think those movies look like shit now. Like I think they still. I think
that
well.
to me that just that not the whole movie, just that scene, like that whole.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Looked like shit because it was just like the same as every other sci-fi scene where they did these kind of scenes and these fast-paced kind. It was like they just used the same fucking vehicles and just changed the colors and changed the shape a little bit. And I'm just like, oh my god, this is so fucking, and it's too long. Cut this shit in half.
Okay, it was a little long. Okay, let's get to the bounty hunter, Jenga. Is it just me? Or is this all his weapons are what our weapons are now? He had a rocket, he has like a gun. Like the dude's like has like regular modern day weapons. I'm like, yo, where's the laser? The motherfucker he shoots a regular missile. I'm like,
wait. What jetpack do you have that you can strap on right now and like fly in any direction that you want to?
I understand, but I'm talking about the weapons though. He shot a fucking rocket off his back like a missile launcher. Where everybody else has lightsabers and fucking laser beam fucking guns.
Okay, but think about it this way. He's Boba Fett's dad. We met Boba Fett in Return. Well, he was also in Empire.
He becomes a badass bounty hunter.
Was he? I mean, like
no, he's not. But he became so popular. He's like one of the most expensive toys if you have him.
You know why? You know why he's most? It's not because he was popular.
No, because it was a miss. Something.
Well, no, that never came out. It was proof of purchase. You had to have 2 proofs of purchase to get Boba Fett. He was a special character.
Oh shit! Okay.
That's why it was the most
like wild,
like coveted because
he became popular though. Everybody was talking about Boba Fett.
Because you had to get him that way.
Yeah, fucking Boba Fett, man.
I think the fact that there was a miss. The first one had a latch that the projectile could like really hurt you, and it never went out. They never made it, but I think it became an urban legend that there's some out there. So if you get them.
No, there is. I watched the show. There's a guy who had one right in the package.
Well, then he must have been an early. I don't know if they had like an early sale somewhere or something, but
because they had a guy come in who worked for the factory, and he goes, "Oh my god, yeah, that's one of our prototypes."
Then it was a prototype.
Yeah, he was like, "This is originally how it was going to come out," but he was like, "You see this mechanism right here? It's supposed to launch the rocket." He goes, "But then something happened, and they're like, because of safety and everything, they changed it." Yep. But this dude had it, and it was worth mad money.
Yeah, it's worth a lot, man. Like, and that's the cool part about it. I mean, I love Star Wars is so cool too, and I do like this movie. It grew. I think the prequels grew on me over the years, especially with how bad I saw they did the final trilogy. Yeah, it's
they're good. I'm just saying you got to get used to the politics part, though.
You're lucky.
That's the part that drags is the politics part.
Yeah, well, but I actually wish there were more politics. And the reason I say that is because it would have been more interesting. You're only seeing the very surface level of the politics.
Yeah.
So there's no real interest into it. You're just seeing like a couple of people's perspectives. Like you're more interested in the Jedi Council and what's going on there and like what's going on with Anakin and Padme, but and the growing war and but how do we not like that's the thing I have a real gripe about with the prequels is we know the Emperor how powerful he is. We know how powerful the Empire is, but you kind of puttered all the way to the Empire. This isn't great. It's a great plan, but we should have seen it unfolding.
Yeah.
As soon as you said Senator Palpatine, any Star Wars fan knew who he was. And he was pretty heavily in these movies. So like, why not make him a main character and show him? You show Obi-Wan trying to be a great leader, and you see Anakin in the middle, kind of torn between, and then show us the other side of it from Palpatine, like where he's pulling the strings.
Yeah.
That's where I think they missed. Like they focused on the wrong things, and I think it was a lot of time. I think it was because they just wanted to make things that like they thought would sell merchandise wise.
Probably. That's what it feels. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, most overpowered character. I'm going to say this is the most overpowered character, and
I swear to God, if you say it,
where I can end this movie, where the dark side will win automatically, and is also the other way around. He's the true hero. R2-D2.
He is a true hero. He's 100%.
He is the hero in every movie.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for him, they will all be dead by now.
Yep.
This dude is going into battlefield laser fights, just rolling, chilling.
Have you ever heard the Indiana Jones theory that they put out on Big Bang Theory, which kind of grew off that because it's
where the ending would have they would have lost anyways because they would have opened and killed them.
It would have that if Indiana Jones did absolutely nothing throughout the entire adventure, it would have come out exactly the same. And in fact, certain people would still be alive. You know, like good people.
Exactly.
So, but Marion would be dead. That's the only thing I will say, and I do believe that is the sole reason that I am happy enough to say, like, I'm glad he did this because Marion would have been dead. They would have had to go get the staff and the medallion, and they would have killed her, and he wouldn't have been there to protect her. So fuck you people. But what I'm saying is, my biggest. What's going on, Papa? So I think my biggest thing with this, and to your question, and how it correlates to that story. What was your question again? I'm really
R2-D2 is the true
R2-D2.
hero.
R2-D2. Yeah. If you take R2-D2 out of the entirety of these first 6 films that he's in, right?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't it doesn't work. The plan doesn't work.
Exactly.
Everything has to work. He has to be there.
Exactly. I noticed it. I noticed it every time. I said to my wife, I was like, this motherfucker just saved the day again. They would lose if he didn't do that.
They'd be dead. He's always doing some. He's always doing some intricate shit, and it looks like it's small, but then you're like, oh shit.
He saved the fucking princess with
from the lava, and then dropped her out the bucket shit, and fucking
And
he guys in the battle gets the head of fucking.
My theory on this is, and to kind of give away a little bit with what's upcoming is, he is not a main focus. They foregoed him in the newest trilogy as like he holds the key to finding Luke, but he has been like quiet for years. Like he doesn't move, nothing. Like he's shut off.
Okay.
So he doesn't do any saving in those 3 movies, and those 3 movies suck.
See,
he's not in the Solo movie, and that movie.
Yeah, because the hero's hibernating. The true hero's not awake.
He's not in Rogue. Here's the thing: he's not in Rogue One, right? He's not in Rogue One. Well, I think you see a glimpse of him, but he's not a prevalent like hero. But here's the thing, and I don't want to give away too much, but Rogue One ends right where New Hope picks up, and if we know who's the most important character in A New Hope, and everybody will say Luke, this and the other thing, but it's R2-D2 because he's holding the plans to the Death Star that at the end of Rogue One, Leia gets and goes to give it to R2-D2. So I continue that, and that is why Rogue One is a great movie. So you were right, James. R2-D2 is the linchpin that holds all of the goodness of Star Trek together.
Star Wars together.
You know what they should?
And we're doing too much.
They should have just made him a fucking android Jedi. They should have just gave him Jedi powers.
He's almost more powerful than a Jedi sometimes.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
I would love to see a mock-up of R2-D2 as a Jedi with a fucking lightsaber.
He doesn't need a lightsaber. He's kicking ass without a lightsaber.
Just like because
Mayer'S is smart as hell. He's just like usually all the other ones you see him on the ships. They just do what they're doing, and someone says, and you gotta command them what to do. This one has a mind on its own. R2-D2 has a mind on its own. It's just, I'll save the day.
I don't know about anybody else, but here's a story about Star Wars, and this is just me. So I've had the very fortunate pleasure of meeting R2-D2 3 times in my life, twice at conventions. Is it the real R2-D2? He was moving around. He was life-size. He was beeping, booping, and I loved him, and I took pictures with him, and I will always love him. So I don't know if the ones at the conventions are real. Still, it's R2D2.
Yep.
I got to go to the Kennedy Center honors the year George Lucas was being honored. And when you go, you're invited to the dinner afterwards, and everybody's in the big hall doing a dinner, and you can interact with whoever you want. It's a party.
Oh wow!
So there's tons of. I met Julie Andrews, Lawrence Fishburne was there, and his wife Gina Rollins. Not Gina Rollins. Gina Rollins, right? She's from Suits, I think. That's his wife, but. Maybe I'm off. I don't know. Whatever. And she was also on Firefly, but whatever. I met them, but George Lucas was like a starstruck. Like I was like, my wife walked over and she's like, "You should go." He's like, "Right there, go talk to him." I'm like, I don't know if I can. And so it's like such a nerve-wracking. There is one. Well, actually, there's two, but really one that I jumped for joy to meet, and because they came from Lucas's Skywalker Ranch, and that was C-3PO and R2-D2 walking all around.
That's dope.
And I will tell you that out of all the celebrities, and there were tons more, I can't remember them all right now, but there were tons more. Those were the two I was like, can I take a picture with you guys? Like, I'm asking these androids from this movie that are walking around for the other guy who made him. And I'm like, can I take a picture with you?
That's hilarious.
Oh yeah, I would do the same shit.
But that's what I mean about R2-D2. And here's another story to why R2-D2. Fuck, James, you're a genius. If we pick Spock as the face, R2-D2 has to be the face of the other.
Exactly. It has to be.
Even my Star Wars merch on my store is the first one I ever did was R2-D2, and it says "Go beep yourself." Like it's just like I love R2-D2, but do you know what Jon Favreau, the director of Iron Man's first tweet when he joined Twitter was? Now fucking stupid. But his first tweet was to announce Iron Man. Do you know how he did it? That he was directing Iron Man. He did R2-D2 in the Iron Man colors.
Oh, that's dope.
And it was a picture, and he posted it. That's how big of a fan he is of this, and how she knows. And that's why I'm like so... Like R2-D2 is just that. So James, I'm right there. I think he is the face.
Yeah.
So.
But couldn't you add Yoda to that too?
Yeah, I mean,
Yoda. Yeah, well, Yoda is everybody. Yoda just by how he talks. Everybody just knows who Yoda is. Like, but he's not the main focus of the movies, though. Like he'll see him in a scene that he disappears, and it's basically.
Okay.
The Jedis and
pick all of us. Let's go around the horn. That's the picture. That's the picture he posted on
that's
Twitter.
Awesome.
I love
it. As soon as he did it, I followed him to because I wanted to have all the update. Well, first of all, I love Jon Favreau, but I wanted all the updates on Iron Man and such because it seems so weird. But let's go around and do five. Five most recognizable characters from Star Wars for you. We're not going to do ships but like the five most recognizable faces that you think universally people would immediately know as soon as they saw it.
All right, want me to go first here?
Yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
Darth Vader.
That's a great one.
Yoda. Obi-Wan. Stormtrooper. R2-D2. Well, I can keep going. Then you got CP3 because they're usually a pair.
Your top five. That's your top five. You're saying
the top five. Well, I remember if someone mentions Star Wars,
those are the top. Okay, cool. No, it's not a bad list at all.
Let me throw myself in a hot seat.
Can't wait.
Which I'm gonna be copying some of James's, but I'm not copying some of James's. But for me, C-3PO, R2-D2, Chewbacca, Yoda, and Darth Vader are like the first five I think of. Luke would probably be 6 or 5B.
Yeah. I'd say character-wise, the first five anybody thinks about, in my opinion, and universally known. Like you never had to see Star Wars to know, but you know these characters. R2-D2. Chewbacca. Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I would go with what's his name, Darth Vader, and then C-3PO.
Okay.
And then I would say probably Leia or Yoda.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The buns.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen them parodied and people are
people dressed up as Halloween costumes and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just see an outline of you can see like different silhouette outlines of different women with all different hairstyles, and they can all be from movies. But if you see the buns, you know who that is.
Yep, Leia's buns.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
And not the other buns, hon.
But I mean, I'd put Yoda up there with it, but I'd put him in a 5. I'd say everybody else is more recognizable.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of characters out of this that are like really popular.
BB-8 is high on my list, and he's newer. He's only in the newer ones, but because kids have BB-8 shirts, that's who they banked on. That's why they sidelined R2-D2. So throwing him out there, he's everywhere. So like, I do think for kids, if they've never seen the movies, they still like, oh, you know, you know who Freddy Krueger is. You may have never seen the things though.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Same thing with this. Yeah. And these, oh man. Like I still can't get over how good the Wrath of Khan was for the movie and the fucking episode. Like it and I think that's another reason that it's tough for this Star Wars episode for me for this movie, because that just blew this out the water. Yeah. Like if I know this is a versus, Star Wars blew this out Star Trek blew this out the water.
You're never gonna see it go back. That's the thing. Like, it's never going to shift back for you because you're watching all of them in order of chronological order. So it's your very next one after Revenge of the Sith is a solo story. And you are doing chronological. Are you doing it when they came out, or how you doing?
We're doing them in chronological.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. It would be solo story, and then it would be Rogue One, and then it would be A New Hope. And by the time you get to A New Hope, it's Undiscovered Country, which is a good movie. It's a very good movie, one of my favorites. But it was a good movie. But it's A New Hope. And then you have Generations, which is great. You got Kirk and Picard together, and then you have Empire Strikes Back. Like, any fan of either are going to be like, if you go against Empire Strikes Back, you're an idiot. Like, but I'm so anxious to see what people think.
Empire Strikes Back is one of the popular ones I remember watching.
It's my favorite.
That's like one of the top.
That's the ones I can't wait. The trilogy is what I can't wait to get to. The trilogy is what I'm excited for, because that's one that I know and always freaking. And I haven't seen them since childhood, so I'm super excited to see those.
Now the trilogy is Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and
New Hope's Empire and Return.
Okay.
Which is actually another tidbit for next week's movie, so everybody knows. The title is the title of the movie is Revenge of the Sith. And the reason they chose that for this is because the original title for Return of the Jedi was Revenge of the Jedi. And it got really negative reviews, from like the focus groups and stuff, because the Jedi aren't supposed to be revenge bound. And it seems like too dark of a title for it. So they went with Return. And serendipitously, I think that works out, because Revenge of the Sith. Actually, you should watch the video where they rename all the titles that match the other movie better. So stuff like that. So it's pretty cool, and they've done it on TikTok. But yeah, like there's some very cool things coming up, but it's never really going to be matched up again. Like the best on one side is way better than what it's up against versus. But it's actually kind of cool too, because you can compare them. And I would ask that, would you guys be willing to rank all of the movies after you watch them in order of your favorites?
Yeah, I mean, because we already do our ratings and they save the ratings.
That's true.
So yeah,
that's true. Yeah, we should be able to do that. Yeah, we should be able to do that.
I would even say on your Letterboxd, make sure you do those lists too, because like these lists are important for geeks and movie fans.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, before we wrap it up for this, what we could do is maybe do the episode. Like, it'll be the last episode of the thing. We could kind of talk about it, and before we ended up put our movies in our ratings, and then just put the list out on Letterboxd after. So you come here first to get it live, and then after you go get it out on our Letterboxd. That's how we're gonna do that. But this was a good this is a really good nerdy conversation. I know we were jumped all over the place, but we kept it. We didn't go too weird, too crazy. We did a good job. We kept it like in the nerdism. Fun space shit, but we still kept it like in the space stuff. We dove around with these movies, but now it's time to dive around with our significant others, if you know what I mean.
That's true.
What's that being said, we're gonna
wrap my old ass going to bed. Birthday tomorrow.
Happy birthday, brother.
Happy birthday. Fuck, man.
Have a great one.
You know what? Really quick, I gotta say this because we usually do birthday picks for Popcorn and Pints and Horror Research 30, where you pick more so for Popcorn and Pints or Horror Research 30. So Popcorn and Pints, we usually do that, and James' birthday Sunday, but we're doing this whole Star Wars, Star Trek thing. So what I will say, James, is if you want, once we get back into the wheel shit, the very first weekend is yours. Whatever movies you want to review. Just because.
How about this? Why don't you spin the wheel? We'll find out what the movie is, and that will be the next movie we do on Snob's Movie Club next week.
Oh, the review?
Well, no, like in our movie club, or whenever week you do it, but like for your birthday, we have a new movie club going on the Discord where we're going to watch movies and then talk about them, kind of like how we do here, but just within the confines of everybody, all the fans
on Discord. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to do that, or I'll review it for you.
Dress up as James. I'm James today.
Yeah. What I think about this,
like this is a McManhattan review for James.
But no, yeah, we'll talk about it behind the scenes though, guys. We'll have some fun stuff because listen, there's gonna be a lot of collaborations in the near future. It's already happening, as you guys can see, but
yeah, at this point we're just all co-hosts at this point.
I know, right?
It makes it easy. It makes it easy for us to do our shows too. Like, yo, listen, everybody's sleeping. James is on crack again. Mick, I need you.
Yeah, I'm at the point with Mick at Night where it's like I'm changing the fucking name so people will host it besides me.
That's fair. That's fair. As a matter of fact, I have an idea for you, but I'm gonna bounce out here. Something what we talked about, but to also keep the. Okay. You know what, people? Thanks for popping by. We're gonna be doing. I'll show you guys one last time which 2 movies we're doing next Saturday. Tune in for that, please. I can't wait for this. It's going to be a great, great time, but we greatly appreciate each and every single one of you who are here on the live or here. You know, you can come back and watch it later on. We're fine with that as well. But thanks for popping by. We greatly appreciate you. Go check out Popcorn and Pints. Go check out Horror Research 30. Go check out Worst Damn Gamer. Go check out Stories from a Bar. Go check out The Scene Snobs. Go check out 3 Geeks. There's a lot of stuff. And go check out whoever else we fuck with. With that said, peace.